Dance, 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 dance to the move. Hi Colin, how are you? Hope you can hear me properly. Just going to be getting Alex Anderson on and quite a few others. Nice to see you. Angel has a dark side. I've got a few questions that I'm going to be answering. I'm going to be obviously talking about Joe Vegan in his recent video, obviously why he's not vegan and why I support him as well. So that will be my first thing. But I've actually got a question that's actually been asked to me from virtual friends. Nice to see you, Nancy. A virtual friend actually asked me, can you talk about co-occurring disorders? I have OCD and I actually led to my eating disorder. What is the best way to treat these simultaneously? Also, do I take any medication? Angel Darkside is saying, Tony Jen says, come over to her and guest with her. I'll come over later on. I'll guest with her. Angel Darkside. If she's on tomorrow, I'll probably come over. So, talking about obviously why obsessive compulsive disorder and obviously dual diagnosis. Like I say, many individuals who actually compulsive traits and compulsive disorders are dually diagnosed. Most frequently, the co-occurring disorder basically found alongside obsessive compulsive disorder is an eating disorder, such as myself. I had the very, very same. I used to suffer with obsessive compulsive disorder. I would be washing my hands 17 times a day, constantly changing my clothes and such likes. But you can have many other addictive disorders such as problematic substance and obviously problematic gambling. Love to you, Jen. I'll be over later on. But I say symptoms of obsessive compulsive disorder. Obviously, the chief characteristic of the obsessive compulsive disorder is obviously the prevalence of either obsessions or compulsions that significantly impair functioning. For many people with both the symptoms, so the obsessions are obviously compulsions are obviously all present at the one time. But I say these occur along with some of the awareness that thoughts and behaviours are excessive, irrational, and obviously unreasonable. Obviously, the obsessions, when I talk about that, I say obsessions are basically persistent thoughts that are experienced and obviously intrusive, unwanted, and inappropriate. Obviously, obsessive thoughts are actually cause significant distress, preoccupation, and obviously repetitive efforts to obviously suppress and control yourself. They're obviously experienced and recurring thoughts, and are obviously unreasonable and obviously excessive, way beyond your control. But I say, obviously, the obsessions may obviously be persistent and disruptive, with distressful impulses and basically mental images. They're obviously, like I say, they can cause a lot of significant anxiety and obviously preoccupation. They can be very, very frequently require the effort to obviously cope with them in obviously the course of your daily life. So talking about ways to actually cope, like I say, efforts to cope with these obsessions are typically geared towards suppressing and disempowering them. Okay, make it over, I will do you. But I say individuals obviously attempt to push obsessive thoughts, impulses and images out of their awareness by distracting themselves actually from them. Ignoring them or obviously neutralising them as well. Oftentimes, like I say, behaviours are used to obviously help ward off any anxiety and obviously distress, and basically by obsessive thinking. Like I say, many people with these type of disorders will obviously develop a repertoire of behaviour used to obviously kind of defocus their attention from obsessive thinking. Like I say, the behavioural attempts obviously to control obsessions can temporarily reduce the symptoms. Like I say, the overwhelming anxiety related to this kind of type of thinking. Like I say, when I talk about that, I say these coping behaviours become repetitive, ritualized compulsions, and obviously compulsive behaviours actually develop. So the compulsions, what I'm talking about them, I say, is compulsions are basically repetitive behaviours used to diminish the stress. They can involve activities such as hand washing, that I suffered with, counting steps, counting calories, anything like that. Even praying can be another one, which is as well. Repeating words, you'll find that often, like they'll keep saying the same thing. Obviously, constant checking things like door handles are closed. Obviously, checking to make sure that you put things in a certain place, making sure it's still there. Obviously, cleaning yourself's another one, and bathing. Putting objects in a specific order. Like you'll see people do that with tin cans in their cupboards. They'll arrange all the cupboards in a certain way so the labels are facing outwards, or they'll have to have their cupboard doors open so they can see everything's there. Like I say, things like making repeated requests for reassurance is another one. Like I say, compulsions, obviously, like the obsessions in this disorder, eventually can become problematic. Hi, Jessie. How are you? I wanted to let you know as well, Jessie, I'm probably not coming to Australia now. There's been a lot going on, obviously. I was coming over to obviously see Jessica and things like that, but she's now not speaking to me and such like. So I'm probably just going to cancel my trip to Australia. So that's a big letdown, but we'll just need to wait and see how that goes. Like I say, when I'm talking about all these kind of things with the OCD, thanks very much for the likes, Jessie. I really appreciate that. But I say, when I'm talking about the kind of link between obsessive compulsive disorder and obviously eating disorders, if I can get that out, but I say, many people obviously find that their preoccupation with obviously performing compulsive behaviours begin to obviously interrupt normal functioning as well. But I say, compulsions can obviously be very time consuming as well as anxiety provoking. For example, significant distress is obviously experienced if the behaviours are not obviously completed or obviously performed correctly. But I say, for some, obsessive thoughts develop even about the behaviours themselves. But I say, addictions and obsessive compulsive disorder, like I say, all addictions actually involve a degree of obsession and obviously compulsion related to the specific disorder. And obviously, for example, those with substance abuse use disorders typically have a kind of persistent mental preoccupation with obviously the substance of addiction. Yeah, I work with OCD clients, I understand, but I say I did have OCD right before my eating disorder actually started. I was doing things like obviously washing 15 times a day. I was having to clean my clothes and change my clothes constantly. They do say that's a kind of precursor to eating disorders in some way, but I don't know, because when I think of that, probably if my mum hadn't died and my grandfather hadn't died, it wouldn't have triggered my eating disorder anyway. But when I look back at it, my mum had a lot of disorder as well. She would basically food for me, father, and things like that, and not eat at all the day and get up during the night, make a load of such like. So food and rituals were off as well at times. So like I say, there is usually a significant difference between the origins of obviously obsessions and compulsions involved in obsessive compulsive disorder and those involved in obviously addictive disorders. Like I say, the obsessions and the compulsions and addictive disorders typically develop out of kind of pursue a gratification and obviously pleasure. Like I say, addictive obsessions are usually coloured by kind of euphoric memories and fantasies of obviously pleasurable experience of times to come as well. But I say, similarly, the compulsions are obviously related to obviously the addictive behaviours are usually driven by the desire to experience pleasure. Obviously, in the obsessive compulsive disorder, however, obsessions are actually distressful thoughts, images, and obviously impulses that actually cause dread and such like fear and panic, or basically self-loathing as well. I say, behaviours that are actually involved in obsessive compulsive disorder do not gratify or give pleasure, but actually serve not only to partially diminish stress temporarily. Those who actually have obsessive compulsive may develop an addiction to use of an addictive substance, addictive process actually to cope with the stress. Let's say, in fact, actually, many with the obsessive and actual compulsive symptoms are actually at risk of actually doing so. So, like I say, individuals with obsessive compulsive traits are actually partially prone to obviously develop an eating disorder if their preoccupations involve body image and obviously food-related anxiety as well. So, like I say, if an addictive disorder or eating disorder actually does develop, that condition also becomes a primarily diagnosis for obviously requiring treatment as well. So how actually an occurring addictive disorder or eating disorder develop becomes a lesser importance once the actual full disorder is actually began. And at that point, successful treatment of addiction and of eating disorder is actually an additional primary concern. But I say for dual diagnosis, both of the obsessive compulsive disorder and of the eating disorder must be treated at the same time to actually ensure a full successful recovery. So, like I say, eating disorders and obsessive compulsive disorder, let's say eating disorders are actually commonly basically considered to involve like an addictive process that actually include obsessive thinking and obviously compulsive behaviour, much like the same in kind of problematic substance use, such as things like gambling and things like sexual, basically compulsive activity. And basically the dynamics of eating disorder are similar to actually those of obsessive compulsive disorder. But however, the conditions like things like anorexia and nervosa and obviously bulimia nervosa actually seem to bridge kind of both diagnostic categories, kind of sharing kind of this characteristics of both really, if you can imagine it. So the treatment of eating disorder will obviously often borrow the types of treatment approaches used for types of disorder as well. I really appreciate that. So like as people with eating disorders themselves actually are usually motivated by the stressful thoughts and feelings obviously related to our body image. So like I say, the repetitive and obviously ritualised nature of the behaviours in an eating disorder is obviously compulsive and continues despite negative consequences, as do the behaviours and basically things like addictive disorders. So, however, the fear of obviously becoming overweight, self-loathing, obviously related to the body size, and obviously the food-related anxiety are basically the core characteristics of eating disorder. So, as an obsessive compulsive disorders are generally motivated by overwhelming fear and distress rather than a pursuit of actually gratification and pleasure, is more typically seen in obviously the addictive disorder. Yeah, that's right, Jess. It's all controlled and addictive behaviour. It's exactly the same. Like I say, it's addiction. Like I always say about people with an eating disorder, based on people with things like suffering with alcohol addiction or drug addiction, the addictive behaviours are the very, very same, but the process of recovery is far, far different. Because for them, they can abstain from drugs and alcohol, but for somebody with an eating disorder, it's a very, very different task to recover, because you've got to actually face your demon, which is actually the food that actually you need to stay alive every single day. So for us, it's a whole different idea altogether, and it's I see the addictive behaviours are the same, but the recovery process is 100 times harder. So recovery, exactly like I say, successful treatment of obviously obsessive compulsive disorder generally involves like multi targets things like anxiety. Let's say cognitive and behavioural techniques are basically used to change the thought patterns of obviously dysfunctional behaviours. So things like healthier, more appropriate ones can actually be substituted. Let's say things that I've done, like relaxation techniques, actually help manage anxiety and obviously the stress and the tension. Say medications may also be used to obviously reduce your tension and basically decrease excessive negative thinking and such like. So I say things like obviously counselling helps obviously develop things like insight and obviously enhance your coping skills and strategies as well. So obviously when a co-occurring addictive disorder, eating disorder is present, typically things education based specific to obviously these of disorders, like I say, people are not target the specific behaviours and support, such as things like the kind of 12-step programs and disorder-specific groups are really, really important. Things like CBT, like I say, cognitive behavioural therapy, even get people doing things like art therapy and such, like, and it's going to distract you for that situation. That's all part of it. What I would say is important in my kind of scope of this, the question that Virtual Friends asked. So I hope that explains it to her. She also asked, do I take any meds for my disorder? I don't take any medications for my eating disorder anymore. I actually used to be on amitriptyline. I was on about 150 milligrams a night, which was terrible. It just made me like an absolute zombie. I was also on olanzapine, which is basically a type of medication that's basically used for a lot of people with eating disorders. It basically makes you very, very hungry. So it's basically masking your eating disorder because you're constantly eating when you're not really getting over the eating disorder. My eating disorder specialist actually says that I'm better without medication, which I know is a touchy subject, but she believes the type of therapy I do is basically sitting in the room, talking to my eating disorder and taking back control for my eating disorder. So to put you in a perspective, I basically sit in a room and I'll listen to my eating disorder thoughts. Like, she'll put down food and she'll say, what's your eating disorder telling you? And I'll say, well, my eating disorder's saying that I shouldn't eat that food, that I'm fat, that I'll be better if I don't eat it, that I'm a failure if I don't eat it. So she basically I'll guess in a little while, Mohammed. So she basically says to me to kind of control that and let me know how to take back control of that. So I was also on things like temazepam. I was on that for sleeping as well, which absolutely terrible. At the moment, really, I'm only on things like vitamins, stomach tablets for obviously my gastroparesis and such likes, and calcium obviously for my osteoporosis and things. So that's basically the medication I'm on at the moment. You just ate 18 tacos. Well done, Ali Hussein. So what I was going to touch upon was Joe Vegan's video. Like I say, if you don't know, like I say, Joe Vegan actually made a video recently. He actually says that he's no longer vegan, and a lot of people have been giving him absolute hate, and it's absolutely despicable. Like I say, I know Joe personally. Joe and Lauren are absolutely lovely, lovely people. Like I say, they've had a lot going on in their life at the moment. Obviously, they've travelled away out to Portugal. They've just had a newborn baby. Lauren has been very, very unwell as well recently, and I think a lot of it, I know they didn't probably look into a lot of the kind of funding properly for obviously the sanctuary and such likes, but a lot of these people making videos about them saying, putting Joe Vegan in the title and things like that, absolutely terrible. They're just making views off him, and he's not a scammer in any way. If Joe really was a scammer, don't you think he could easily have just sat back and kept collecting all this money from people and not saying I'm no longer vegan or anything anymore? He could have done that quite often. He could have, and he didn't do that. Like I say, exactly, Jesse, who cares if you're not vegan anymore? Humans are so mean, exactly. My wife's not bloody vegan. That make her any less a lovely person? Absolutely not. Being vegan doesn't make you a good person. Being a good person makes you a person. So I'll try and play some of this video if I can and let you see it. And basically, hopefully it kind of plays. Ali Hussein said, do you think chickens have feelings? Of course chickens have feelings, Ali Hussein. They're all sentient beings. They actually can feel pain. They can think for themselves. Everything like I say. So they're not anything less a sentient being than me or you or anything else. And they're just exactly the same as dogs or cats. Like I say, why would you place one animal's precedence over another animal's precedence? But I say that's what people don't understand. They see the connection of the dog, the cat sitting in your living room. It's part of your family. Is any... Hey guys, how's it going? So here's Joe's video. I know many of you may have
checked the weather this morning, and there wasn't a prediction for a shitstorm on the horizon, but there's one on the way. So I'm just giving you a heads up. I want to talk about why I am no longer vegan. I'm no longer going to be spouting off the vegan militia cult mentality statements that you see everywhere online. I'm no longer going to implement the dietary restrictions of veganism onto my life. The same goes for Lauren, my wife. She's not here in this video at the moment, although she'd like to be because she's looking after us. So the first thing I want to talk about is the community of veganism online. Okay, as a devout vegan of 3 years, the weird thing is after 3 years, people break down like I have. If totally honest, guys, this lifestyle has led me to literally break down. And Lauren and I got to a point where we're just like, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we putting ourselves and our lives and our sons', future because of something that we imposed on ourselves? It's completely much of the madness. So, as a 3-year vegan who never had a slip up, who was really, seriously to a T. There would be times when I eat meals and go. I think once we went a period where we were flying from somewhere like Nepal to New York, 6 hours, and all we had was a fucking bag of apples. A bag of apples. I was just say that again. A bag of apples, guys, in 56 hours. If someone's like for the next 50.
Right, so there, Joe's actually talking there about the dietary restrictions and such like, and he's obviously saying about a bag of apples in 56 hours. And that's very, very true as well about a lot of things about being vegan. A lot of people don't understand that. In some countries, being vegan is virtually impossible. If you can think of it, what does veganism actually say? What's practical and probable as much as you can possibly do? And that's what veganism is all about. I say nobody's 100% vegan, can ever be 100% vegan. Just think about this camera that I'm using at the moment, doing it on my iPhone. There's as much exploitation goes into making this Apple iPhone as there does to anything else in this world. Like I say, you think of all the slaves that are getting paid pittances, dollars to actually make an iPhone. It's terrible, like I say. So look at it that way, yeah. It's very, very true. There's many, many countries, the Eskimos and such like, it's practical for them to be vegan. Like I say, obviously, I'm a big advocate of veganism. Like I say, I do a lot of vegan activism. I help run Save Movement Scotland. I'm actually doing a Save Movement in my area as well that I've just set up. So I know only too well. I see the suffering of the animals every day. But he's got a great point there as well. So that's a great point.
If I was going to give you a fucking bag of apples, you'd be like, well, what have I done wrong? Anyway, I want to talk about this community, and we'll go on from there. So, from my experience, 3 years in the vegan community, and I've been a militant vegan, actually went into it and very quickly was absorbed into the militant crowd. If you are a vegan, I just want to warn you, this video is going to trigger you, and if you leave some sort of militant comment below, which I've been there, I understand how you're feeling, you used to wind me up big time. I'm just going to leave you a little square card for you. That's your vegan police card, and you can take your vegan police card and take it back to your vegan police station. I've been where you are, and throughout the 3-year period, I've always observed others within my community, because I truly believe I did belong to a community. I don't anymore. I don't even want to. If there is a community, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be vegan. I'm very happy to say I am not vegan. You can probably tell I'm a bit pissed off, but I'm also feeling a great sense.
That's another thing, absolutely true, Blazy. If we let every little thing bother us, we'd kill ourselves. Exactly. I'll always be vegan no matter what. That's what I always say. I'm all about the animal. I'm all about ethics. Like I say, online veganism in this community is fine. This is not veganism. Veganism is about everybody out there out hitting the streets, actually spreading the vegan message. If we're listening to all the hate and things online, nobody would be vegan. Like I say, why should we basically say that we're all encompassed by the same thing? Like I say, there's always going to get hate no matter what community you're in. Animals should not suffer because of that. That's my interpretation of that. No matter what, but I say animals shouldn't suffer just because of idiots online, and that's where I don't agree with what he's saying at that point. So next part, anyway.
So there are several types of people in this community, and one of the types of people I've noticed are people who have come into this community and they're recovering from some form of eating disorder. I am not a master on eating disorders. I'm not going to claim to be. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not going to tell you whether you do or not have an eating disorder and whether what you're doing is correct. Some eating disorders in this community we are friendly with them as people, but this is a generalization of people I have seen who've come to veganism with an eating disorder, and I think what it allows them to do is restrict, but have something that other people are encouraging them to restrict, which is the worst thing I believe you can do for someone with an eating disorder, in the name of something which they believe is bigger than themselves. And we'll get onto the hypocrisies of veganism later, and there are many. They come into it and they are basically allowed to restrict, which is cruel to do to someone with an eating disorder. It really is cruel to do to someone who has restrictive thoughts about food. The first things a doctor will tell you, who is encouraging you and trying to help you get over, say, like anorexia or something, is don't eat. They will never put a limitation on any food group. And animal foods, animal products would be one of the food groups. If you were like, I'm cutting that out altogether, they'd be like alarm bells ringing. This is a lot of people, and it comes in a wide variety of extremities. You have some people who are really struggling with their eating disorders. Some people who have it's been with them since teens and they're not really sure about this and that. And a lot of people, restricted eaters come to veganism and they're basically enabled. They're enabled, and that's not fair to them. If you are one of those people, I encourage you to maybe rethink. And that person, if you are trying your best, but you're not destroying yourself, you have to find the line. If you are ultimately going to be destroyed as a human being, mentally or physically, by this restriction, then you need to stop, because you're good for nothing. You can do good without being a vegan. I'm not trying to encourage people. This isn't a video about encouraging people to not be vegan. This isn't a video encouraging people to question their choices, question their life, question everything. I've always said that. Question me. You don't really, why the fuck am I in this video? This is social media suicide. I've belonged to this group such a long time, and I'm like, and on top of that, then you have a group of vegans who exploit those people, make money from those people, and offer them false promises. They do this in the means of like an ebook, which they'll charge an extortionate amount of money, promising them that they'll recover from their eating disorder, because I did. And it's like, that is criminal, and I think these people should answer for their crimes. It's literally criminal. Actually, there are laws to prevent people from doing this, but YouTube is a bit of a grey area when it comes to what lawyers can and can't do, because everyone's all over the place and no one knows what's going on. So they're literally exploiting people's bad habits or mental disabilities and saying that they've cured things that are scientifically incurable, but miraculously they did on their diet.
So, touching upon that one, he's got a great point, and this is something I've said all along, guys. Like I say, I don't recommend veganism for virtually most people with an eating disorder. Like I say, you've got to make sure that you're doing it for the ethical reasons, like I say, and that you're not coming to it with any intentions of demonising any food group at all. Like I say, if you're getting any intentions or even that slight thought in the back of your head that you can restrict food in any way, then you're not being vegan for the right reasons. It's like it's probably the coolest thing that you possibly could do to anybody. And I've always said this before, being vegan will never cure your eating disorder. Absolutely spot in there. To say to anybody that you can cure eating disorder by a Lotto 4 diet or anything like that is absolutely hypocrisy, and it can actually cost somebody's life. Like I say, doesn't matter what diet you've got, whether that you're pescatarian, you're ovo-lactarian, you're an omnivore, you're vegan or such likes, You've got to deal with the mental issues going on up here. You've got to make food your friend. That is your medicine. You've got to get to that point before you're able to deal with anything. And it's like he says, you're no use to anybody. You're no use to any movement if you're unwell. You've got to be able to help yourself before you can help any animals. And that's why I've always said, and it's a good reason why a lot of eating disorder therapy units don't let people go vegan, because the most important thing for your recovery is just food. And that's what it is, especially things like protein, things like phosphorus, magnesium, obviously potassium and such likes. It's really, really important, I say. And sometimes a lot of people just don't know how to do that. They can't do it. So it's exactly bloody Z. People shouldn't follow anything. But I thought Joe already practiced that. Not in exactly. But it's a touchy subject, like I say, because we've done all that before. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. But I thoroughly, as somebody with an eating disorder and suffering all this for 20 years, I know exactly what he's talking about. And it's like he says, he's got friends in the community. He's actually talking about me there. He's actually said that to me. But it's like he says, he supports me 100% because he knows I'm doing it for the right reasons. I feel a lot of people, and I'm not going to mention any names, with eating disorders recently have made videos claiming they were vegan and basically doing it because they thought that's what people wanted them to do. And I think you all know all the kind of people I'm talking about. And at the end of the day, they should have been open and honest with themselves and their recovery. And they've went back and forwards from being vegan to not vegan, vegan to not vegan. But I say, you've got to do what you've got to do for your health. And like I say, it doesn't matter what veganism or anything else is not going to cure your eating disorder. You've got to get to that point. And Crystal Grey Matter says, following blinded, good point. I still cringe when I even have to say follow someone on Instagram. So like I say, he's got some really amazing points. He really does. He also talks about, like I say in the video, basically talking about the kind of hate online and such likes. But like I said as well, that shouldn't be categorised as every vegan on here. Like I say, online veganism, what is it really? There's no such thing as a vegan online community. They're all in it for their own professional gain in some way. So you think all this eyes on was our jury and rider and such likes. They're not here for the vegan movement, like I say. Veganism's not about me, it's not about you, it's about the animals. So the next part.
Whilst selling you something for health and being totally obsessed with their own health, then you'd give this information for free because apparently it can change the world. If you truly believed it, it would be free. Like the NHS, they don't charge for the information on their website. They just give you it for free because it's just health advice. If you truly believe you're giving health advice, you truly believe it's going to save animals, save the planet, save.
So it's like they're talking about if they really believed that their so-called diets were actually going to help people, they would give it for free, and that's true. The NHS do that. Absolutely great point as well.
To give that information for free. There are two types of people that I've come across in this community. The other type of people are people who make money from this community, not by selling people stuff, but by inadvertently causing trouble to get their name out there. It doesn't matter what they do or what's being said about them, they don't give a shit. They get the name out there, they use bigger YouTubers. I've done this, I was one of these people. At the same time, there's a cognitive dissonance because I believed I was doing that and entertaining people, but I also believed in the actual cause itself, which will, again, I'll refer to. We're going to talk about the hypocrisies of veganism later in this video. People, they just create such an actual shit show of what it apparently is to be a vegan, and they'll just say the most outlandish things and be so disrespectful to their fellow human beings and fellow members of their community. What define community? That is not it.
That's an absolutely great point as well. A lot of vegans online especially seem to miss that connection. about compassion for the animals, your fellow human and the planet. You think all the hate that they basically spread to each other. Suddenly, he's got a good point when he touches upon later on in the video that if you're no longer vegan, you're not part of this community, you're not friends with anybody anymore. Like I say, if you were really friends with people, would you think any less of them just because they're vegan or they're not vegan? You may not agree with their ethics and such likes, but you wouldn't just automatically disown somebody. So that basically shows you it's basically like making veganism a cult, which is absolutely not. Like I say, it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the animals, and it's time people understood that. And it's like I say, if we're all wanting to make veganism great again, we've got to come together as one. We've got to work together. We've got to stop hating on vegan community and people out of veganism and veganism into the mainstream and bring new vegans in. We need to stop being militant. We need to stop spreading hate. We need to try and make it accessible to everybody, help people, because ultimately when they come on, people come online and they see the message that we're spreading, that's putting them off. Like I say, we're actually doing the opposite of what we're trying to achieve. We can only save animals by spreading the positive message. That's what we've got to keep doing. Exactly, Bloody Z. That's exactly why I told you I'll support him as well, and I always will do. Like, I'm a Patreon of him. I have been for day one, and like I say, they're good people, and that's the most important thing to me. Like I say, I measure a person on the people. I don't measure them on what they achieve. Like I say, or what their ethics are. Like I say, life isn't vegan. You may not agree with the ethics, like I say, which I don't. Like I say, I'm disappointed that he's no longer vegan. For now, he's going through a lot of stress at the moment. He's likely to have a mental breakdown, which is obviously did happen. I probably think he's just not thinking clearly at the moment. Like I say, pardon me, sorry guys, that just came out of nowhere. I think he's just going through a lot of stress at the moment, a lot of mental issues, and I think he's not thinking clearly. If the dust settles down and he's vegan again, but like he said, actually, listen to his video. He actually says that even before he was vegan, him and Lauren basically ate 99% vegan. Like he says, I'm not going to be running out buying a KFC or a McDonald's or anything like that. So they're as much plant-based or whatever you want to call it as anything else. So, you know what I mean? Are they really changing anything? No, they're just not getting involved in the vegan online community.
And the situation that these people have created is a position where you can raise more money in one night suing somebody, right, than you can in 1 year trying to build an animal sanctuary. Just think about that. The very thing that vegans believe in, we can't even band together. I said I'm no longer a vegan. You cannot even band together. Some of you could. Some of you, and you know who you are, and we've privately contacted you. We respect you people. You know who you are. This isn't a video aimed at you. There are some people who really believe it and live it, and they don't go around militarizing it and being disrespectful. And for those people I have the utmost love and respect, they spread it in a positive way. They don't spread hate and anger. They spread it in a loving and positive and respectful way, as it should be, as it is. What it says on the tin is that it's about equality and love, but apparently it got lost in translation somewhere. So you can make more money suing someone in your community than you can trying to do the very thing that the community is ultimately trying to achieve. Okay, as an outsider looking in, I can now say that the community is vastly full, and you need to start somehow piecing it together in a way that you are working together. I don't think it is possible for the group of people that have come together online and represent vegans as a whole. I don't think it's possible for those people to do that. There's too much ego, there's too many narcissists, there's criminals, literal criminals who've been done for fraud. There's bald people in China. There's fucking people who claim that their diet is the be-all, end-all, and will sell you it, but they ride 3 hours up a mountain every day. Nothing to do with it.
That's a great point as well. Like he says, they talk about obviously the OC4 diet, why it's the be-all and end-all. Yet they ride up the drive 3 hours a day. Like I say, yeah, it's probably great, and it is great for a professional athlete and such like, but it's not great for the average person. It's obviously got its benefits, obviously for type 2 diabetes and such like, but OC4 diet is not sustainable. Is it sustainable in somewhere like Scotland that I live in, where it's -8 in winter? Absolutely. If you maybe stay in Florida or you maybe stay in Australia, you could probably get away with it, but it's not sustainable in every country that you live in. So that's a great point as well. Bloody Z says, I took a small job in part so I could help Joe with the sanctuary. That's absolutely amazing, Bloody Z. Our Save Movement Scotland, which is actually run by Lynn Jolly, she's actually starting an animal sanctuary in Scotland over here. It's actually called Lotus Sanctuary. So we're going to be starting that, which would be absolutely amazing. So I'll get some vlogging done at that as well for it, all you guys, and put it up in my channel. It's like Crystal Grey Matter says, oh, really wow. I mean, it sounds like an amazing thing to start. Exactly. It is an amazing thing to start. It's absolutely the best thing you could possibly do. I know a lot of people always say it's basically like a glorified petting zoo and such like, but is it really? Like I say, there's animals out there being killed every single day. You see these orangutans obviously being exploited for the palm oil and such likes, and if you save an animal and keep it, maybe I know it's not out in its natural habitat, but you're saving the animals in some way. So Bloody's think supportive more than he should have. I think it's mistake from being young. Agreed, Bloody's. Like I say, I think they probably jumped in a little bit too quickly. I think that they just didn't look at exactly the amount of work that was going to be taken in and the funds that was actually needed, especially when he was obviously got a newborn baby in there, just born. So I feel that's had a lot of financial stability on top of it as well. So I feel they could probably factor that in better. And being young, like I say, you learn every day. Like I say, we've all been there. I remember being 16 and 17-year-old wasting money like there's no tomorrow. As you get older, you get a bit wiser, I think, and when you're young. But he's, like I say, absolutely great guy, Joe, definitely.
That's not why they're lean. It's because of the diet that they're selling, and it's $25. Just saying. There's too much ego in it, and they can't actually achieve the thing that you're trying to achieve. Those are three types of people. Then there are the minority of people who actually believe in it, and they do live it, and they are respectful. They don't policing people. They provide an entertaining manner to try and access the mainstream. They demonize people if they're not 100% devoted to cause of the detriment of their own health. The nice people, the normal people, we have these people in every community, some of the more predominant, more communities, and they're more successful. It just so happens that the vegan scene online doesn't attract people like that. Not very many people who are like that, like myself, have a break. I'm not alone. Like, there are others at the moment who have come out, they're even mentally ill, which is another type of person. Or it seems that, so there are 5 types of people. The fifth are people who are actually mental. They have problems, and again, it ranges in variety, extreme to not extreme, but they have actual mental problems, and they're destroying themselves. But because it's for the cause, people are like, yeah, it's okay, you're awesome. And then they think, oh, well, I've got to continue because I'm fucking awesome. No, I'm dying though, but never mind because it's for the animals. Okay, you're going to be good for no one in 2 years though. You're going to be good for nothing. You're going to do no good because you're going to be either admitted or dead. Like, literally. We shouldn't call people who are mental just for us. They're just destroying us. It's not fair. But back to people who actually believed it and lived it as I did. And if you like, you can't have, because you've just made this choice to start eating animal products again, or you know, a true vegan would be vegan for life. Unless you have a child, unless you travel to 31 countries as a vegan, unless this is a very narrow group now. What else? Unless you're married, unless you're not some vasectomy freak, then you don't bother commenting because I'm just going to use this back up. Be a little bit, please, both.
Great point. Like I say, you're absolutely no use to nobody if you basically kill yourself for the sake of the cause. Because, like I say, you've got to be able to help yourself before you can help any animals. And absolutely, there's people out there actually advocate. You see a lot of people saying, thinking like they've got eating disorders, and they're saying 1 minute I'm vegan, I'm not vegan, I'm vegan, or I want to be vegan, but my eating disorder recovery team told me otherwise. I can't be vegan now, but they feel they've got to do it because people online are here and they want to be a part of something. Like I say, God Almighty, you know what I mean? It doesn't make you any less of a person. You can be a great person just by being yourself. Like I say, no matter what. Let's say being vegan doesn't make you a good person. And thanks very much for the likes, Big Scheme Bird. So, like you say, he's got a good point. Either one or two things. You're going to end up being admitted and forced to not be vegan, or two, you're going to be dead. And you know what I mean? It's scary to think, but he's absolutely right what he's saying there. It's true what he's saying about a lot of people. Crystal Grey Matter says, I thought he was older. Yeah, he is. He's only 24. Like I say, he's a young guy. He's got a lot of knowledge as well. He's trying to figure it out all, and I applaud him for handling this so well publicly. Exactly. Let's say a lot of people obviously making comments that he's a fraudster, he's a scamster, and this, that, and the next thing. They don't know Joe personally. I know Joe personally, and I know he's not a scamster. Like I say, he could easily have sat back, kept taking the money off people, kept saying, "Oh, we're going to build an luxury. Oh yeah, I'm all vegan and such like." He could have done that. It's like he says, people online obviously causing all the hate, and they basically get more views than somebody that's actually doing it for ethical reasons, such as what he was doing, what myself and others do online. But people that are causing hate and drama, they get the likes because they use the name of veganism. You know what I mean? Vegan, chi, you know how I'm talking about, CH, that, quite a few others.
If you haven't told as much as we do, the first thing you notice when as a vegan, the things you notice when you travel, and as a vegan, one is that for some people in this world, it's impossible. It is impossible to be vegan. You go tell a Mongolian yak herder to be a vegan, he'd look at you and laugh that you're fucking crazy. But you drive a 4x4, you have an iPhone, you have an Apple laptop, you have a Canon, and you have loads of other digital devices. You are more of a detriment to this planet.
Hi, Neil Galarity.
So how is he less ethical than you just because you're a vegan? I'm going to get onto the hypocrisies in a bit. That's the first thing you notice. It's impossible for some people. I know this because I have travelled and there have been times where I was so devout. I was like...
That's a great point. I say, the Yakult goat herder he's talking about, like he says, why is he any less vegan than somebody that carries an Apple iPhone or an Apple Mac or drives a 4x4? Like I say, that is true as well, because you think of the exploitation obviously done to all those workers out in these countries, like I say, getting cents and for actually making all these iPhones. You think of the animal products obviously in the tyres of the car we drive, but like I always say, who can be 100% vegan? Nobody can be 100% vegan. You need to live off grid. I don't know where to be 100% vegan. It's the world we live in, but should that make you give up veganism? Absolutely not. Like I say, it's about doing as much as you possibly can do every single day, and the choices you make with your food, your clothing, your cleaning products, everything. Like I say, just doing what you possibly can do. What's practical? That's that is the definition of veganism. Liam, jump in the guest queue, I'll guest you. If you're in the guest queue, exactly, doesn't mean you should stop trying. Liam, Galarity, are you actually in the guest queue? It says there's nobody there. I can guest you from here. There's nobody in the guest queue for some reason. Try to guest you. No, disappeared. User is no longer watching, it says. So I'll fast forward this on a bit, guys. Yeah, I don't think because I'm vegan that I'm perfect now. It doesn't stop there. So much wrong with it. I just started here. Exactly, no perfect. Like I say, I always say the only perfect person is the Lord God up there, and that's absolute truth. It's every single day trying the best you possibly can, and that's all anybody can do. So has anybody got any questions about anything? Like I say,
I've been
here's the rest of it.
For 3 years. Shit like that doesn't happen. As an outsider offering advice, I would now say if you are
losing connection here. One stops and they make the halfway through.
And you do belong to it, and you get triggered by everything I've said, and you want to belong to it, and there is a level of like, no resistance. What he's saying is absolute bullshit. He's gone crazy. He was not a vegan. Think whatever you want. I literally don't give a shit what you think.
Come on.
You need to start taking your community, if you can call it that, if you want to call it that, seriously, and really start to think about yourself and your.
So he's absolutely got a great point. You've actually got to consider your community, take your community seriously, and actually look at yourself as well. I say we all actually have to look at everybody.
Your life is being affected by this. You have the right to take your life into your own hands. This cause is only as powerful as the people who believe in it. It is not against the law to do the things that veganism restricts. And watch out, because I don't think Lauren and I, for a fact Lauren and I are the only people who are thinking they're going to do this. People before, and we are now. And if you are one of those, I would encourage you to be honest with yourself. Just be honest with yourself. It's difficult to do. It takes some balls or some ovaries to make a video like this to a community like this. That's not good. Communities are accepting. Communities bend and change and adapt and evolve. This one doesn't. Never has. If you're not happy, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to be uncomfortable. You don't have to, in many cases, ruin your life. You don't have to do that. Nobody can stop you. People online have gone fucking crazy, crying to a camera, having a mental breakdown on camera. I saved you guys from watching my fucking mental breakdown, and I'm not, I've been very, careful to, not show it and not show it, not let it get that far, because I'm a parent and I have responsibilities. And, Lawrence is saying, we've talked about this a lot, and some thoughts go into this. I haven't just been like, oh, that thought just popped in my head. I'm going to turn the camera on and talk about it. No, I've thought about this for months. And it's time to be honest. It's time to put it out there. I'm not vegan. If you see me eating animal products, then I'm just another person eating animal products. You know, if you're not shouting at all people eating animal products, then, you know, don't shout them, basically. Thanks for looking. What a joke.
Yeah, like I say, he's got a lot of good points, but like I say, the animals don't need to suffer just because for us to thrive. Like I say, but like I say, Joe and Lauren, absolutely amazing people. Like I say, I give them all my love and support. I always will do. But you know what I say? It does say that there's a lot of people out there that's going to be going the same way, and it seems to be the trend recently. I don't know if people are trying to make views with all this crap about no longer vegan. I'm no longer vegan. I'm no longer great points. I give them all 100%, guys, and I say just because he's not vegan doesn't make him a bad person. Like I say, being vegan doesn't make you a good person. And I hope a people out there that actually giving him all this hate actually realise the kind of person that he actually is.
With a photo print.
Yeah, it does seem a fad at the moment, 100%. There's quite a few, even some in Scotland here, done it. So here's a song. Once upon a young year, once upon a young came out to play. And slaves with all our fears, beyond innocent disease, memories we knew would never fade. And their father, same sunny days, slip away. In his arms and then he say, "Hey, later, once a week, so one day you'll never leave behind. So live a life you will remember. Mother told me when I was just a child. Those are the days they fade apart. My father told me." I think that's a great song, guys. So I'll thank you very much, everybody, for joining in this stream. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be obviously streaming tomorrow again. Send you all my love and support as always. Big love and support out to Joe and Lauren as always as well. Remember, as always, binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings. Thanks, Crystal Grey Matter, Jesse Moo, Bloody Z, Big Scheme Bird, everybody in the chat. Love to you also.